Hi, good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome again to today's Sunday class. So we continue our journey in this brief course of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and NLP is really, really close to my heart. And as I've shared earlier on the previous classes, that NLP is a science as well as an art, which is about self-transformation. So we have few participants joining in today. Hi, Gopi. Good morning, friends. Continuing the topic of today, we are going to speak about neuro-linguistic programming, and in this format of the Sunday class, we will have some questions that will be addressed after the topic is complete, and you can either use the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask those questions. So today's topic is really special to my heart, and it is neuro-linguistic programming, which all of us are interested about. So, what is this NLP? So NLP is a part science and part art, and some people say that maybe it's not science, it's pseudoscience. But I feel that any tool is only as effective as the person using the tool. So let's dive deeper into this neuro-linguistic programming, what it is, how this technology can benefit us. Whatever is useful, I would invite you to take that with you. And wherever you feel you still have questions, I'll be there to answer them. All right, so let's get started. You know the ritual. Starting few slides are some of the messages, some of the insights that I found very, very useful. So feel free to take a screen grab, take a screenshot, free to write down. This is all important. Starting with the first presupposition of the day. Presuppositions, as you know, are the ideas and the beliefs that help us get an understanding of what a mindset of neuro-linguistic programming is. So, starting with the first one, impossible is nothing. So, impossible as a word in itself, it has got the answer to the challenge that it poses. Impossible means I am possible. That's the mindset of NLP. That it is about mindset of accepting the challenge, mindset of possibilities, mindset of understanding how we can make things happen. So that is what is important, and this is the foundation that I want to share with you right in this course, that it is about a mindset of possibility as an NLP practitioner that you need to bring. Okay, now this is another one which is based on the concepts of generalizations and concept of distortion of the reality. What as an NLP practitioner we feel is that all generalizations are lies. Whenever somebody says that everyone or all or something, that every time, this it's not that it is applying to everything and everyone. Whenever there is a generalization, a generalized statement, we should ask a question, that are there times when this is not true? For example, if somebody says that every time my luck is bad, so the person is making a statement and it is kind of generalizing one particular instance to the entire life as such. I think it is not justified. So this awareness with NLP knowledge is about understanding where all we are making a generalized comment and where we should not limit our thinking. Yeah, we should realize that there lies a lot of lies in the kind of truths that limit us. Sometimes when we limit ourselves, it's not about a particular instance. We think that that is true for every time, but human beings at any point in time in their life, they can decide that they can make things happen, they can change, and that is what is very exciting about this human experience, that we can change anytime, we can be better anytime. This is my favorite one, and I'll prime it up with a story. I'm sure it has happened with you, and we have one of our friends who has joined us today live on the call. Many a time it happens that, let's say, you want to get up 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning and you put an alarm. But there is an internal clock, the moment, let's say, the alarm is about to set off at 6 in the morning, sometimes 2 minutes before the alarm or 5 minutes before the alarm, you just wake up, and something like that. There is an internal clock, there is an internal alarm which is there. So has it ever happened with you? You can just put your comment on the chat box, Gopi. Or if it has happened, you can just show your virtual hand. And many a times it does happen with people that there is an internal mechanism, internal clock. Sometimes people like to call it that this is our unconscious mind, subconscious mind, which is helping us. So this is about that mechanism that works in our brain that takes care of things. I have a response on the chat. Yes, it happens multiple times. Thank you so much. So that unconscious is a very, very powerful resource, and that is another belief that is there with neuro-linguistic programming practitioners, that we use the power of our internal clock and we trust our unconscious. That unconscious is taking care of you, that unconscious is taking care of the way how you are going ahead in life. And another belief that as an NLP practitioner we have is that people are perfect. Whatever state that they have reached in their life, that is where their conscious and unconscious mind has worked best to them in their circumstances. Now, does that mean that that is the reality that they have to face? No. They can shape up the reality, they can still be better. That is where they have to leverage on this unlimited resource of unconscious mind. You don't have to think when you have to breathe, you don't have to think that your heart has to beat, and you don't have to think when you drive. Automatically, the moment you are in a car, you know what to do. So these are all the processes which are making us really, really successful in life, making us alive, and they happen unconsciously. So this is the power of our unconscious mind that we need to tap into, and this is another premise of neuro-linguistic programming that we have to explore. Now, this is one of my favorite ones, and in psychology, we also call it locus of control. There are things that matter, and there are things that we can control. Many a times, people feel that in their life, there are things which are external, which are controlling their life, and there are people who are very, very driven, who feel that they have a control of their life. We call it internal locus of control, and they have a way of looking at life. Now, it has been seen in various studies that people who have an internal locus of control, that means that when they focus on things that they can control and they can shape up their life, they have more chances of succeeding. And these are the same people who have an outcome in mind. They always keep an outcome focus, a solution focus in mind, that what is it that I can do to change my circumstance, to change my situation. This is what is also called as the growth mindset. So the growth mindset comes out of it, a possibility mindset comes out of it, and outcome focus comes out of it. So where should we focus? Should we focus on things which are beyond our control? To an extent, we should observe, but then what we have in our control is what we have to do in any circumstance to our best. So the growth and possibility mindset is about what is it that I can do better every day. This journey of excellence, which we call neuro-linguistic programming, it is all about understanding that what else I can do to rise above my circumstance and to be my better self day by day. That's why we call it the technology of excellence. And last but not the least, a very key takeaway that I want to share before we dive into the content, and today being the 100th of such sharing lessons that we are doing, we'll also share some announcements. But the most important takeaway that I want to share with people who are listening or people who will be listening this lesson today is this whole idea of that thoughts shapes our reality. The thoughts shape our physiology. Every thought, every belief that we have is connected to an actual physiological connection in our brain, which is called a neurosynaptic function. This is a picture of a neuron. And every behavior that we have, it is linked to a neurosynaptic connection. So how do we know this? In psychology, there were certain experiments which were done on monks, on yogis, on the Tibetan masters, where they studied that what is the kind of the brain chemistry these people have who are meditating, who are in a particular state of mind, who know how to control their mind rather than their mind controlling. And they were amazed to find that sometimes, let's say, for a brain of a person who is getting a lot of stress these days, by watching TV, by going on the social media, they have a particular way in which the brain is wired. But for these people who are, I would say, practitioners of meditation, practitioners of mindfulness, the brain chemistry is very, very positive. Their response to a stress is not that alarming. They are more in control of how they can be easily navigating their life. And what is the benefit out of it? As we all know, that if somebody has a very balanced way of life, has a very mindful foundation, the health benefits are the second thing that happened to them, and the longevity of the life. You know, the life span increases, the quality of life increases. So one thing that got seeded into all the NLP practitioners, right, from the starting of or the inception of this entire science of NLP, is that we can shape our brain, we can shape our behavior, and any time you get a new insight, that is like a short circuit in this neurosynaptic connection. The old pattern of looking at things breaks down, and there is a new association, a new way of looking at things. Let's start. Once again, a very warm welcome to this journey of Science of Mind. Every Sunday, it's my pro bono effort that I share something that I learned from my mentors, from my teachers, and the topics that we have decided for this entire club is psychology, positive psychology rather, then mindfulness and neuro-linguistic programming. This time we are doing a series on neuro-linguistic programming. The previous section we covered some of the presuppositions, and today we are going to again cover some of the key ideas. Why it is important? Because all these sciences of mind, they help people to become better version of themselves. Our intention is that we all become leaders in our community, we become coaches who are helping people out. Every Sunday, there's a mindful presence that we have for 30 to 40 minutes, either on the live class or on the YouTube podcast which we listen to. And we build our learning, our repository of concepts and ideas and techniques in these areas. This is a pro bono initiative, absolutely free. It's my way of giving back as a gratitude to all the people who have taught me. So I have to, kind of share this further. And finally, that's right. It's about leaders who are coaching leaders. It's about you becoming a better version of yourself. If you're still curious, every Sunday this kind of a session happens. Then there are a lot of resources that I've already shared. There is a Udemy course also which is there available free of charge, where you can learn, apply, share, and transform all these learnings. And it is absolutely free. There's a Google site which can give you more information. And what I want you to do is be curious, learn every day, continuously strive for that learning. So, as this is our 100th sharing, which we are doing, this is a 100 video which will come out of the YouTube as a token of gratitude to all the learners who were part of the community. If you send me your email address, I'll send you the digital copy of my book, which is, I think, listed already on Kindle and Amazon. But then it will be a free copy that I'll be sharing with all those who are interested. Now, a little bit of a background story. When I spent 10 years in my experience as a L&D professional, I realized that from the starting of somebody's journey in the career to the point where they are becoming a people manager, that is where they have a milestone to complete in terms of certain competencies and certain areas where they have to master the learnings. So what I understood is that there are 7 areas or 7 learnings that people need to get before they can become a people leader, before they can be good with people. There are many other dimensions. I agree that there is a strategic dimension of becoming a people leader or a leader or a coach. But these are the seven very, very foundational dimensions. And I'll be more than happy to share. And thank you, Gopi, for sharing your email. And if anybody who listens to this class later on would like to get a copy of this book as a thank you note from my side, I'll be sharing this on your email. Yeah, so there is a form which is on our website. You can fill that up, or you can leave it in the comment section, or you can message me directly. No problem. I'll be more than happy to share this with you. So stay curious, keep on learning, and to continue our learning in neuro-linguistic programming, this is our second building block for the day. Friends, there are 10 building blocks that I have envisioned for this mini course. First one was the presuppositions. They are the beliefs or the mindset of NLP. The second most important, I would say, the technique in which most of these NLP practitioners work, and being a master practitioner, I have worked, is increasing the awareness. Okay. How do we increase this awareness? I'll give you some very, very practical tips and ideas. Okay. There are five senses with which we experience the world. Yeah. So these five senses are the visual sense, the sense of looking at things, seeing things, sight. A being the auditory, where we are listening, function of our ears. Kinesthetic, or kinesthetic is all about the touch and the feel. That feeling can be when we are touching something and we are getting a feeling, or the internal feeling which is there. O stands for olfactory. Olfactory means the different smells which are there around you. And G is the gustatory, or some certain tastes that remain with us. The moment I say that, just imagine and remember your best dish that you ever tasted, or one of your favorite dish that your mother cooks. So that's our awareness. So a very simple exercise to increase our awareness is something which I called as 5 4 3 2 1. This exercise is also derived from mindfulness, and I wanted to share this with you. And it's also an NLP exercise. Any NLP coach or any NLP practitioner, they work on their awareness. Their awareness level is tuned as a very, very astute observer who's going to see that how things are different, who's going to listen to words which are unsaid, who are ready to feel what people are feeling, who have that that empathy developed into themselves, and the other areas. So what is this 5 4 3 2 1? So if you can just relax, keep your feet on the floor wherever you're sitting, or be really, really comfortable. Let's start with 5. The first thing in this technique is the visual. Just look at the 5 things which are there in your surrounding, and just pay that mindful attention. 5 things in my surrounding. I can see books which are there in my surrounding. I notice the color, notice the shape, and just pay attention to that. Then you move on to the second thing. Similarly, you take a minute and you pay attention to 5 things and give them careful, mindful attention. All right. So while you are doing that, I'm also doing it. I'm just looking at the 5 things, noticing the color, noticing the shape, the features of that particular object, and moving to the next. Okay. And when we do that, you'll realize that it's a very, very mindful state of awareness that you're getting in. When you're focusing externally, the internal chatter stops, and we get into this heightened state of awareness of looking at things and observing. And when you do that, you drop down the judgment. That's the five visual things that we observe. Now let's move on to the auditory, or the hearing, or the listening aspect of the senses. Hear and pay attention to 4 different sounds which are there in your surrounding. One can be the sound of this program which is going on. You can hear my voice. What other sounds are there in your surrounding? Pay attention to three more sounds. I can hear the sound of a horn, which is there of a car. Now, if I focus a little bit more, I can hear the sound of maybe the fan or something clicking here and there. Yeah. And if I really, really increase my awareness, I can also hear minute sounds which I was earlier not paying attention. Yeah. So this is from 5 visual. Now we are down to 4 auditory. Now 3. This is about feeling. Just hold 3 objects and become aware of how they feel, the touch of that object. Maybe if you're sitting with a phone in the hand, how's the touch of the phone? How are the shapes, various contours there? So that is one object. Maybe you can pick up another object. How is the feeling of it? Is it warm? Is it cold? What is the sensation you're getting by holding that object? Sometimes to increase the feeling, we close our eyes and we also kind of touch and see that how it is actually feeling in our hand. Is there any particular feeling that get associated with that object? For example, there is this pen which is lying on my desk. The moment I hold this pen, there is a feeling of confidence I get because this pen was gifted to me by one of my friends. He has gifted this to me when I was just passed my exam and I was, in my high spirits. And then he shared this and it was completely positive experience. So the moment I hold this pen, it reminds me of my friend. That is a positive feeling that I get. This is three objects, 5, 4, 3. Now two smells that you have in your surrounding. If you pay attention to two smells in your surrounding. So in my surrounding, there is this little bit smell of an incense which was burning from, let's say, 20 minutes back. There are smells of some plants which are outside my window. I can also smell that. So two smells. And finally, one taste. One taste can be of something which is of your interest, your favorite food that your mother cooks, or maybe something that you really, really like. Yeah. So you can remember that taste. Just imagine that in this exercise, when we have gone through VAKOG, 5 things, or the 4 things that we can hear, or the 3 things that we can feel, 2 things we can smell, or 1 thing that we can taste, it has increased our awareness and it has brought us to the moment, to the present moment. So this is one simple exercise, and there are similar exercises that you can do to center your mind, to increase your awareness. And this entire way of looking at things is what we call as sensory acuity. Yeah, and thank you, Pihu. I think, so we are moving on to sensory acuity. Sensory acuity in neuro-linguistic programming is what we call as the difference that makes the difference. Sometimes people are able to read the expressions on others' face. They can pay attention because when your awareness increases, that is where you will be able to pay attention to these small changes. So, what sensory acuity means essentially is the fine details of any visual input, any auditory input, any kinesthetic input. What are the finer details? For example, if it's for a visual thing, what is a contrast? What is the color? What is the shape? So those details is when we pay attention to, we get a new input, we get a new message. And then we understand what are some of the strategies of connecting with people? What are some of the strategies in which we can be a better observer? So these are all skills of observation when we practice it. So what I want you to do is the next time if somebody is sharing something to you, practice deep observation, practice active listening, practice connecting with the feeling, and practice focusing on each of these dimensions. What are the new messages that you're getting? And then you change your position in which you kind of look at a particular problem or a conversation. So this is the next thing, which is called as perceptual position. And there are certain tools and techniques which are focused on perceptual positions. For example, I am sharing this little bit of a lesson of NLP with you, and you are listening to me. So that is one position in which you are the listener and I am the speaker. Now, if you change that position, and if you, let's say, imagine in your mind's eye that you are a person who's observing this class going on, which means you're a third person. Now, that's another way of looking at things. That's another perceptual condition. Yeah. Now, this can be really, really important frame of mind when we are evaluating certain behaviors of ours or others, or when we are evaluating a particular situation in our life. That's called the third position. The first position is when you are looking at things from your own frame of reference, your own eyes, your ears, your senses. So that's the first position. Second position is when you try and step into the body of the other person and you think that what is other person's perspective. Now that gives you a very, very new dimension where it gives you the idea that how others are thinking. It gives you that empathy for the other's feelings. That's the second perceptual position. The third, which we just discussed, is of a neutral observer. And as an NLP practitioner, it is important that we gain these perceptual positions, because many a times people are just invested into just one position. Either they are thinking the situation from their self, their awareness is just limited to self-awareness. But as NLP practitioners, as people who are focusing on building this skill, it is important that we also think a situation through from others' point of view and a neutral observer's point of view. So this is what I mean by perceptual position. And last but not the least, the most important strategy of awareness that I want to bring to you is this whole idea of experimentation. In NLP, we call it TOTE. I think some of you are aware of TOTE. If you are aware, you can just write the full form on the chat. If you're not, just say, I want to know. Okay, so we have few of us who have already joined. Adam, Piyu, Gopi, anybody else who knows the full form of TOTE? Now, the developers of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, friends, they were not only from the linguistic background, but they were also from the background of computers. So Richard Bandler, he was a computer genius, and he's the one who he's quite a genius experimenter of that time. He was quite an innovator, and he saw and he drew a lot of parallels between the way how a computer works and the way how a human brain works. And one of the key ideas that he contributed to this field is called as TOTE, which is called test, operate, test, exit. So which means that it's a model of experimentation. So whenever we get an idea, we experiment that idea, we test that idea. For example, the awareness exercise that we just did a few minutes back about the VAKOG, the five senses exercise, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that was a test. Yeah, that was the test that you have done. Then you operate that test in a particular setting. For example, you have just taken that exercise. Now you want to apply it in another conversation where you want to be mindfully present in that conversation with your friend, yeah, or with your colleague or with your family member. And you see that how some of the test results are. What do you want to do differently? And then you exit. That means then you close that exercise. So in the upcoming classes on every Sunday, I'll be sharing some techniques with you. And these techniques are just in the same format: how we test, how do we operate, how do we test our work, and how do we exit. And in the same format, the spirit that we have is a spirit of experimentation, curiosity, awareness. Like today, we did this awareness exercise that helped us to understand that, yeah, this is how the five senses are working, and to settle us in a moment, the present moment, and in a mindful awareness, we can do this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. So, the thought that I want to leave you with today is your attention is equal to retention. Wherever focus goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, focus goes. Attention and retention are part of the same form. Like when we were doing this class, one of our friends, Piyu, she said that, okay, I can see the bulb and I don't see the slide changing. That is where the attention was. So her attention was very visual in nature that time. But for a person, who was listening, who were intently listening, that didn't matter. For them, what I was saying, their attention was there. So whatever you focus on, you will retain in that experience. And today's lesson or today's concept of NLP is about this awareness that we have to mindfully increase. This awareness, the situational awareness, which I want all of us to kind of build, because for being a great leader, for being a great coach or a change maker, this situational awareness is very, very important. Okay. So this is the idea that I want to leave you with, that focus on your attention, focus on your energy, focus on how do you increase your awareness day by day, and what can be other ways. This is just an introduction. Maybe there are ways in which you can increase your awareness, maybe by doing some mindfulness practice. Maybe there is a particular sport that you play, or exercise, or a walk in the park, whichever works for you to increase that awareness, that entire reflection, and to give that mindful attention. Because the moment attention increases, retention will increase. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you. This is the second concept of this class. There are 8 more classes where I'll be not only sharing the foundation of the NLP, but also some of the neuro-linguistic programming techniques which you can apply to get rid of your fears, get rid of your phobias, get rid of any habits that you or your close ones have. So this journey is really, really exciting. I want all of us to kind of be curious, share with others whatever you are learning. Take care of your loved ones, take care of your parents, keep learning. This is fun. I really appreciate you devoting your time on every Sunday to grow these skills. And my promise to you is that as a token of gratitude, whatever is there, I'll be sharing with you. As this is our 100th lesson that we are sharing on the YouTube channel, I will also be getting some of the guests who are specialists in their fields. For example, there is a community change leader. If you are somebody who would like to volunteer and help people around, there is a community leader whom I'll be getting soon on this class, maybe next Sunday or the Sunday after. Then there are psychologists who are trained in various disciplines like emotional healing. There are psychologists who are career counselors. So we will be getting them for this Sunday class, and you can then we can straight away go ahead in a Q&A after learning their journey, after learning about their work. This is really a chance for all of us to grow as a person, and as somebody has invested in my learning, I feel that it is my token of respect and gratitude to all those people that I contribute something back. So if at all there are any questions that you have or any areas, so my expertise lie as a psychologist, qualified psychologist, NLP practitioner, and a student of mindfulness, where I can focus on certain things, and I've been trained in the discipline of coaching. So if at all you have any questions, I'll take a pause and I can answer your questions now. Or if there is a, 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 a kind of a confidential discussion you want to have on Sundays, feel free. That's my number. I'll be more than available to listen to you, to learn from you, and share my ideas further with you. So I'll take a pause here. If you have any questions, you can use the chat window, or you can unmute yourself and we can have a short discussion.